Hi, good morning. Well, good afternoon. Sorry, I'm super late. It's a whole thing. So, make sure you took your pills. Double check. Okay. You took them. Good. All right. Get your I don't even know what to call it. Morning beverage. I don't know. There's bedtime beverage at nighttime, so I don't know. The only thing I know is happy wake and bake. So, we are on chapter 11, and we're just going to read this because I was supposed to read it last night and didn't. So, we're making up for it. Then, the king of Egypt, this is Ptolemy, Cleopatra's dad, ordered or gathered forces as numerous as the sands of the seashore and many ships, and he sought by deceit to take Alexander's kingdom and add it to his own. Wow, that went sour pretty quick. Didn't he just marry Cleopatra? Wow. These people really do got big dicks. The Egyptians, man. God called them big membered. My big membered. Big membered enemy. That's what it was. Big membered enemy. He set out for Syria with peaceful words, and people in the cities opened their gates to welcome him. Yeah, this is what America is doing to the enemy right now. Opening the cities and welcoming them in. King Alexander had ordered to let Ptolemy in because he was his father-in-law. Yeah. They're just poor Jews. But when Ptolemy entered the cities, he stationed a garrison of troops in each one. Wow. Okay. You know, this whole time, I thought a garrison was a weapon. Is it a weapon? Let's find out. Garrison. A garrison is any body of troops. Okay, well, now I know. Welcome to not being a retard. Okay. So he stationed some troops there. Now, this right here, I don't know if this is talking about Ptolemy or Alexander. It's just a sentence in the middle. So I don't. Is it like a cut scene in a movie when it's like Ptolemy's here and then cut scene, it's people traveling and it happens to be Alexander? Is that what's happening right here? Is the Bible making a cut scene? Okay, we're gonna assume that. And this is very, very well written. I want to say that it's very imaginatory writing. So whoever wrote this is a fucking amazing writer. Just this part though. As they heard Azotus, as they neared Azotus, they showed him the temple of Dagon destroyed by fire, Azotus and its suburbs demolished, corpses lying about, and the charred bodies of those burned in the war. For they had they heaped them up along his route. That's great writing. Could you imagine all of that? It's like, oh, that's amazing writing. And they told the king what Jonathan had done in order to denigrate him. But the king said nothing. Why didn't you say? Dude was talking shit and Jonathan was like, bring it, bitch. Because that's what happened. That dude was talking mad shit and Jonathan spanked that ass. But anyway, Jonathan met the king with pomp at Joppa, and they greeted each other and spent the night there. Jonathan accompanied the king as far as the river called Eleutherus and returned. Then he returned to Jerusalem. Okay, now this is the cutscene again, right? And so King Ptolemy took possession of the cities along the seacoast and as far as Seleucia by the sea, plotting evil schemes against Alexander all the while. He sent ambassadors to King Demetrius, saying, come, let us make a covenant with each other. I will give you my daughter, whom Alexander has married, and you shall reign over your father's kingdom. Why don't we just do this? We'll find out what we can about this guy, huh? King of Bactria, who was the son and successor. What? What the fuck? I don't know. Okay. I don't know what a Bactria is. See, that's. Whoa. Why do. Okay. Okay. Shut up, Nikki. Shut up. Okay. So he sent ambassadors to Demetrius, saying, come, let us make a covenant with each other. Man, we'll do such a good job. I'll even let you marry Cleopatra. That's Alexander's wife. They got a kid together. But you can have her. It'll be great. And once you marry Cleopatra, you can be king over the land that's rightfully yours, right? I regret that I even let Alexander into my family because he's trying to kill me, right? And he was just criticizing Alexander because he wanted his kingdom. If your kingdom is shit, right? Why are you going to get another kingdom? Because you're going to turn it to shit too. Why not fix up your own kingdom before you try to get another kingdom, you asshole? See, that's what I don't understand. It's like, okay, there's this great place right here. Okay. And then you ruin it. It's all great before you get there. And then you're like, oh, this place fucking sucks. Don't you think it would be your fault? Democrats really need to do some soul searching. Anyway. So he wanted Alexander's kingdom. After taking his daughter away, Ptolemy gave her to Demetrius and broke with Alexander. The enmity. I don't know. I don't know how to. Enmity between them was now evident. Okay. Okay. Then Ptolemy entered Antioch and assumed the crown of Asia. Thus, he set upon his head 2 crowns, that of Egypt and that of Asia. See, I never I never wanted to, when I set out to read the Bible, right? Because I had no choice. Because, big guys like read the Bible out loud on camera. So that's what I'm doing. And ever since Nebuchadnezzar came into the picture, right? Ever since Nebuchadnezzar came into the picture, I'm like, Nebuchadnezzar is definitely Asian. Like, the way he's written about, you can tell he's like Asian. He thinks he's a god. People in Asia think rulers in Asia are like gods, right? They think they're gods. They play that they're gods. It's like Nebuchadnezzar is Asian. But I don't know what part of Asia any of these people are. And I didn't know Alexander was king of Asia. See, I never wanted to research the Bible. I never set out to know any of this. I just wanted to know what the Bible said. And the Bible is putting all of this, and it's like, if I research this, reading the Bible is going to take such a long ass time. I don't know. I just want to get through the Bible. But I didn't know Alexander was king of Asia. I thought he was. I don't know what I thought he was king of, but I didn't know it was Asia. I thought maybe Alexander was like king of the Romans or something. I don't know. But okay. And isn't there a movie? I never watched the movie, so I don't know. I never wanted to know any of this. I didn't even know this was in the Bible. Okay. So and apparently this is like Greece. Like a lot of this stuff is happening out of away from where the Old Testament was. And it's like, I thought Judah was Judea, but they might be different places. See, I don't know. This has got me all fucked up. But okay. So, Alexander and Ptolemy broke up, and it was a bad divorce. And then Ptolemy entered Antioch and assumed the crown of Asia. So he he was king of two places because why not? It wasn't hard to rule one place. Now he's got two places. And King Alexander, okay, we're going to find out. We're going to find out about this guy because why not? King Alexander is an actor. What? Okay, Alexander, king of Macedon. The ancient Greek. So then, how is Ptolemy king of Asia? Okay. See, I don't want to know what. Bleh. This is so confusing. But okay. He was in Cilicia at the time because the people there was pissing against the wall. When Alexander heard the news, he came to fuck Ptolemy up, but Ptolemy had been preparing, and Alexander had just heard it. I feel like this is cheating. See, this is some backwards shit. I feel like this was a Jew thing, right? Like, Ptolemy was friends with a Jew that was like, hey, you gotta prepare first, and then you gotta hit him when he's not expecting it, which is not really fair. I just want to say that it's not really fair because you knew you were gonna win. That's not battling the right way. Alexander fled to Arabia to seek protection. King Ptolemy was triumphant. Zabdiel, Arabian, cut off Alexander's head and sent it to Ptolemy. I also heard Alexander was hit with an arrow and Cleopatra sent him to America. Just saying. But 3 days later, Ptolemy himself died, and his troops in the strongholds were killed by the inhabitants of the strongholds. Thus, Demetrius became king in the 167th year. Didn't this start in like the 150 something year? So this must have only lasted like 10 years. Crazy. Okay, but if Alexander died when he was 26, this whole thing started when he was like 18. That's even more stupid. His balls weren't even half dropped yet. That's not fair. That's not right. Okay. Alliance of Jonathan and Demetrius the second. Okay. Let's how about we do this? Let's find out about this guy. We're gonna do it a different way because I found my search bar. I knew where it was, but I I just didn't see it good yesterday for some reason. Demetrius II, Nicanor, Seleucid king. I don't know what the fuck that means. Was one of the sons of Demetrius first. Okay, well, who is he? What does he do? For 2 periods. Uh, okay, but what is a Euclid empire? See, I don't fucking know. Oh, yeah, okay. I'm not doing that. Okay. In those days, Jonathan gathered together the people of Judea to attack the citadel in Jerusalem, and they set up many siege engines against it. But some Democrats, enemies of their own nation, went to the king and informed him that Jonathan was besieging the citadel. And Demetrius was pissed the fuck off. And as soon as he heard it, he came to Ptolemy. He wrote to Jonathan, "Hey, can you stop that shit? Just come and see me. I'm at Ptolemy. Just come quick." On hearing this, Jonathan was like, "Hey, keep it up. Do more." And then he selected some elders and priests and put himself at risk, taking with him all sorts of expensive shit and gifts to the king, and was like, "Hey." And the king was like, "Oh, I love this guy." And then some dudes, some Democrats, enemies of his own nation, like enemies of America, so the Democrats, they brought some charges against him. I've read this a couple times. This Jonathan reminds me of Trump, because this is what they did to Trump. This is what they do to Trump. Yeah. So, the king treated him just as his predecessors has done. They did, just like his predecessors did, and exalted him in the presence of all his friends. He was like, "Hey, I love this guy." Right? And they confirmed him the priesthood. The king was like, "Hey, you can be priest, and then you can have all this other shit. The shit you had before, you can just keep it." Right? Do a good job. And Jonathan asked the king to exempt Judea and the 3 districts of Samaria from tribute, promising him in return 300 talents. So, doing it now. So the king must have been totally drunk to want instant gratification instead of long-term gratification. And the king agreed. He must have been drunk as fuck about all these matters. So he says, "Hey, I want to tell you about John and his people. I'm telling you, I'm sending you this letter so you can have it. so you can refer to it later, right? So, greetings, Lasthenes, upon the Jewish nation, right? So this is about the Jews. Yeah, they can do all their shit for their God, right? And let them have whatever they want because they're gonna be good guys, right? Therefore, we confirm their possession not only of Judea, but Ephraim, Lydia, Lydida, and Ramathaim, Ramathaim. These districts together with all the shit that goes with them are given to Judea for those who offer sacrifices in lieu of royal taxes the king used to receive from the produce and the trees. Yeah. Yeah, the stuff that's ours. Yeah, they don't have to pay that, right? As well as the salt tax, the crown tax, any kind of tax. These guys, they don't get that. Henceforth, forever, not one of these provisions shall ever be revoked. Why? Jews suck. And there's so many of them. At least a sales tax. Something. See to it, therefore, that a copy of these instructions be made and given to Jonathan, and let it be displayed on the holy mountain. It's a System of a Down song. Holy Mountain. Right there. System of a Down. That's a pretty great song. Start it low though, because Surge does the Surge thing. But it is a great fucking song. Another song that they have that's really good is the Soldier Song. I think that's what it's called. But anyway, that is a great song too. The intrigue of Trypho. Okay. The intrigue of Trypho. When King Demetrius saw that the land was peaceful under his rule and that he had no opposition, he dismissed his entire army, each to his own home, except the foreign troops which he had hired from the islands of the nations. So all the soldiers who had served under his predecessors became hostile to him because they didn't have to be soldiers anymore. Well, that was a bit weird. Okay. When a certain Trypho, who had previously supported Alexander, saw that all the troops were grumbling against Demetrius, he went to Imalki. I don't know. Imolk. I think that's Ilmalki. Because isn't Milwaukee spelled that way? I think that's Ilmalki. The Arabian, who was raising Alexander's young son, Antiochus. Why would he name him that? So this is Antiochus the Third. Trypho kept urging Elmwaki to hand over the boy to him so that he might succeed his father as king. I wouldn't trust this guy either. But he's not a Jew, so maybe. Okay. He told him of all that Demetrius had done and the hostility of his soldiers, and he remained there for many days. Jonathan aids Demetrius the second. Yeah, but why? His dad killed your brother. Okay. Meanwhile, Jonathan sent the request to King Demetrius. But I guess in his rules, if he actually reads his book, it says you can't do that. Okay. Meanwhile, Jonathan sent the request to King Demetrius to withdraw the troops in the citadel from Jerusalem and from the other strongholds, for they were constantly waging war on Israel. Why though? Demetrius, in turn, sent this word to Jonathan: I will not only do this for you and your nation, but I will greatly honor you and your nation when I find the opportunity. This guy. Now, therefore, you will do well to send men to fight for me, because all my troops have revolted. They should have, because, you're kind of an asshole. So John sent 3,000 good fighting men to him at Antioch. When they came to the king, he was delighted. The populace, 120,000 strong, massed in the center of the city in an attempt to kill the king, this Demetrius. So the king took refuge in the palace, while the populace gained control of the main streets and prepared for battle. We're gonna kick your ass. And the Jews were like, fuck you, guy. Then the king called the Jewish force to his aid. They all rallied around him and spread out through the city. On that day, they killed about 100,000 in the city. Okay, so like werewolves. They was like, ow! Killed everybody, ripped them all open. Burned them alive. At the same time, they set the city on fire and took much spoil. Thus, they saved the king. They killed everybody but your okay guy. When the populace saw that the Jewish force controlled the city, they lost courage and cried to the king in supplication. Hey, we know we tried to kill you, but you're a dick. Can you help us? They extended the... Who's us? What the fuck? Who's us? Who's us? All right. They extended the hand of friendship to us and make the Jews stop attacking us in the city. Oh, okay. This is what they said to the king. So they threw down their weapons and made peace. The Jews, thus, gained honor in the eyes of the king and all his subjects, and they became renowned throughout his kingdom. And finally, they returned to Jerusalem with much plunder. So everybody figured out the Jews were werewolves. But when King Demetrius was sure of his royal throne and the land was peaceful, he decided he wasn't a nice guy no more, right? He broke all of his promises and told Jonathan to fuck off, right? He made the ICP call, right? And so I guess this is Antiochus the fourth. I thought it was a third, but okay. I guess, was there a third? I don't remember them being a third. But I guess it's Antiochus the fourth. Okay, so this is Dionysus. Okay, Alexander has a last name, and so does. Okay, it is King Alexander's son, but why would he be a fourth? But okay. Okay, so this is the alliance of Jonathan and the fourth. After this, Trypho returned and brought with him the young boy, who became king and turned his head into a lampshade. All the soldiers whom Demetrius had discharged rallied around Antiochus and fought Demetrius, who fled. Trypho captured the Elephantes and occupied Antioch. When the young Antiochus wrote John, he said, You can keep all your shit, right? And then, like, you can drink and eat off gold, you can wear purple, and you can have another belt buckle. So now I got two, right? And Jonathan's like, fuck yeah! Hey, Simon, you want to be my Garfunkel? And then Simon's like, fuck yeah! Right? And then Jonathan and Simon, they teamed up and battled together. Jonathan set out and traveled to the province west of Euphrates, and its cities. All the forces of Syria espoused his cause as his allies. When he arrived at Ascalon, the citizens welcomed him with pomp. They was like, fuck yeah, this guy, right? But when he set out for Gaza, the people of Gaza shut him out. They was like, fuck this guy. So he said, fuck you guys. And he beat the brakes off these motherfuckers. Then the people of Gaza was like, hey, I'm sorry. Right? And then he was like, hey, you're cool. I wanted to fight. So, as when they made peace, he was like, hey, give me your sons. And they was like, okay. Right? And then he traveled through the province as far as Damascus after he sent the kids to Jerusalem to be raised by Jews. And Jonathan heard that the generals of Demetrius had come with a strong force to Kadesh in Galilee. There's a Dark Lotus song called Alibaba, and It's like the 17th. I don't remember, but it's a Dark Lotus song. It's called Alibaba. So he went to meet him. No. So he went to these generals, leaving Garfunkel in the province. And Garfunkel encamped a bet against Bazur, attacked it for many days, and shut in the inhabitants. And they was like, the fuck? And he was like, eh. So they became friends, but he made the people leave and put troops there. He was like, I don't care where you go, but you gotta go. And he put some troops there. Meanwhile, Jonathan and his army pitched their camp near the waters of Gennesaret. And at daybreak, they went into the plain of Hazor. There, the army of the foreigners met him on the plain, having first detached an ambush in the mountains. This army mounted a frontal attack. Then those in ambush rose out of their places and joined the battle. So they did the phalanx thing. All of Jonathan's men fled. No one stayed except the army of commanders. I remember, okay. Mattathias, the son of Absalom. Absalom is Jonathan's son. No, I'm sorry. David's son is Absalom. But I don't remember hearing anything about any of this in the time of David. And I don't think I've ever heard about Absalom's kids either. But Absalom was killed in the most fucked up way. It was. Anyway. And Judas, the other Judas. Jonathan tore his clothes and threw dust on his head and prayed. Okay. When Saul was killed and the dude brought Solomon's head to David and David killed him, that dude was throwing shit all over his head too. But I want to know where this came from. Anyway. Then he went back to the battle and routed them, and they fled. Routed them who? The other army? Okay. Those men who were running away saw it and returned to him, and they pursued the enemy as far as their camp in Kadesh. And there they encamped. About 3,000 of the foreign troops fell on that day. Then Jonathan returned to Jerusalem. Finally! I've done this a bunch of times. But I do promise my intention was not to try to find out about these people. Really, I mostly wanted to know the words, but this story, like I've heard this story outside of the Bible, I think. I don't know. And really, I didn't know that the Bible even talked about things outside of Israel and Judah. It seems like most of this was taking place during a different king. But then it's like none of these kings trying to be kings are king of anything that has to do with Israel and Judah. It's just, I don't fucking know. I don't know where we are in the Old Testament. And when I originally started doing this, I started doing it just to read the Bible, not to try to keep track of the timeline. I didn't even know you would have to keep track of a timeline. Really, I thought it was the story of Moses and Noah and shit going in a line all the way up to David. I didn't know that the King Alexander was in the Bible. I didn't know any of this was in the Bible. This has nothing to do with Israel. I guess it has to do with some Jews, but I don't know if Judea is Judah. So I don't know what the fuck is happening. So if somebody knows what the fuck is happening, please tell me. I don't know what God's point was of having me read this because I have no fucking idea what's happening. And maybe nobody else does either. And again, we are supposed to be learning the Bible together. So people that know the Bible and happen to watch this, what the fuck is happening? What the fuck is happening for real? And what is this Seleucid Empire? What the fuck is going on? Please tell me. I appreciate it. And cheers.